Alright, so I'm going to be doing a review of Essential Elements Book 1. I'm doing a review for this book because when I was looking around on YouTube, I couldn't find any. And like any good book, you want to find if it's worth your time or not. And yes, you can find recordings and play alongs with it, but nothing that satisfied, I don't know, like just an overall review. Now you can find some on Reddit, mostly not a review, but mostly people speaking about it, whether it's worth your time or not. Well, I'm going to review this book, and obviously it's from a beginner's perspective. I'm in book 2 right now. I'm about to finish it. I'm already at the very end, and as you can see, I have the last piece um, of this book. And if you know why I did this, then you know. Uh, okay, so I'm gonna start with, where's my notebook? Let's cut that out right now. Pause record. Okay, so right off the bat, do I recommend it from a beginner's perspective? Yes, I do. Uh, I've already completed Suzuki Book 1 as well, but I still found value in this book. Uh, and it's kind of nice to have a book. Whoops. This is my Suzuki book. I used to have a teacher and they printed this out for me, so I don't even have the actual book. But honestly, I recommend it. If that's all you're here for, I recommend it. Go get it. If you want to know why, first I think I'm gonna start with the bad, in case like these are no's for you. Then I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right away. Okay. So the bad is there's a lot of hand holding. Now there's the user interface on the website. Now as you can see as a positive, it comes with the website. But I'm gonna show you. So if you were to combine this with Suzuki, you wouldn't actually do anything of value until you get, and this is the song list by the way, or sorry, uh yeah, it says song right there, so song list. I didn't really start anything. Yes, I did play through them because I paid for it, so might as well, until page 40. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that right here on the website, page 40, Carolina Breeze. So this is uh the first time that I actually, okay, at least it's getting to something playable that's not just exercises. So one of the negatives about this book is there's a lot of exercises, and as you can see even in this piece, it feels like a exercise instead of like a piece, right? So let me show on the first piece in Suzuki, right? I mean, look at the difference, right? Big difference. So that is one of the negatives. So it's very handholdy, as you can see. The count 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that is I would consider that a negative, but keep in mind that's also gonna be in the positives. Uh, so a lot of it is like this, very handholdy, but on top of it, up. So that I would consider that a negative. Honestly, if you've already done Suzuki Book 1 and you're looking to supplement, it is good, but you're gonna fly through this thing. So if you don't feel like the price is worth it, then I would say just get a PDF file of it and print it out yourself, or use your computer or tablet to look at the sheet music. But I think that's all. So it's very exercisey. Doesn't This one does have more melodies and pieces. Very short like this, by the way. Extremely easy. but I feel like the structure of it is very different. So I guess that's basically all the negative. So now for the positive is it honestly teaches you at the same time it doesn't hold your hand. So I know that's weird. It's holding your hand, but at the same time it's not holding your hand. And and this is what I mean by this. So I don't know if you can tell right now. It has numberings on this piece. Okay. See the numbers right here, 431, right? But if even if you look here, look 300, right? So it has fingerings on them. But if you notice, there are no more notes on these quarter notes anymore. There are no more notes. So this book teaches you theory just enough to get you along. It teaches you the notes, and I think that's why I picked it, because I was suffering in Suzuki. Although that's a topic for another day, but I was suffering in the Suzuki books because the numbers, while in the beginning are fine, but if you go further, honestly, for me, it just wasn't working out. I think because in each line, right, for that represents the string, it's still 4 1 2 3 4. So it's when you're playing faster pieces, it can get really confusing. I feel like I'm spending more time trying to guess what string I'm on and what finger, and when the fingerings would disappear, I would just get lost. Once I started in this book and I actually knew how to read the music with the proper notes, within a few pages I could just read it. It was a non-issue. I didn't even look. I know it has numbers on here, but I wasn't even looking at them anymore. Like, you can use them for reference, but I really wasn't using them anymore. And these are just a quick view of what you have. So that's a positive. I'm gonna say that. So it doesn't hold your hand. Once it teaches it to you, it expects you to know it. So it essentially, like, if you need to go back and look at what you're on, then you can go back. And I like that, because if you need to go back and find out what note you're trying to play, then you just go back, right? And see how simple a lot of this is. It's very um, I I will say, even though it feels, I don't know if monotonous is the right word. It feels like you're just going, like you're just doing small exercises, but at the end of the day, it actually did improve my playing and my confidence with bowing. I feel like there's a lot more emphasis on bowing in this book than there are in Suzuki, and that's why I think if you use both of them together, they're perfect. Because once I went back to Suzuki and played in Suzuki Book One, and I knew how to read the notes and not look at the fingerings, I just flew through it, right? So that is a positive. Uh, Another positive is, let me see if I could find a good example. I was surprised. So the rhetoric on Reddit was that Suzuki Book One is like combining Essentials Book 1 and 2. And now that I'm on Book 2, I'm already pretty much done with Book 2. I'm on the last piece. I actually disagree. There are things that are introduced in this book a little bit more advanced than in Suzuki, and slurs is one of them. So I'm trying to find exactly when. Okay, so it's this one. So we're gonna go to the song list. So it's 109. As you can see, there's a lot, but you go through it very fast. Okay, so this is the first time you go into slurs, and as you can tell, actually it's 108, but it doesn't matter. Same point. And if you take a look, it already wants you to slur more than once. And in Suzuki, it's not like that. I I don't think there's. I mean, I could look at it right now. There's not much slurring in Suzuki Book 1. And as you can tell, there's 160 songs in this book, or pieces, or whatever. Uh, there, there really isn't. I mean, the Happy Farmer might be the hardest when it comes to slurs for some people. At least I've heard. I didn't really have much trouble with that one. Minuet C, I think, because of the 1 4 2 1 at the very end. Uh, right, those slurs. But even on Minuet number 2 at the very end with the open 1 2 and the 1 2 4, it's more of a timing issue than a slur difficulty. But so when I got to this, I immediately thought like, oh, like there's slurs already, and I'll be honest. Uh, so I used to take lessons, in 2020 to 2021 for about a year and a half. I got all the way to Suzuki Book 3. I didn't know how to read music. Even to then, I was having a very hard time reading, like just the numbers, because you don't know how to read sheet music. You're just looking at numbers, and it was just confusing. Even all the way to book 3, I was still, every time the numbers would disappear, it felt like I was guessing what I was doing. And maybe you're not like this, but that's how it was for me. So that's why, and I once I couldn't afford lessons anymore. I had to stop taking them. I dropped them, and then you know how it goes. You go a week without practicing. You try to practice again. You're a little sloppier, and then you kind of just drift off. I tried to restart a few times, and I would just try to rush my way all the way to book 2, end of book 2, and as soon as I would get to extensions, it was just like I couldn't do it, and I would give up again. And then, so this time, I've been practicing since the end of July. So August, September. So basically just 2 months. And I haven't even started Suzuki Book 2, by the way, because I'm taking my sweet time. So what I did is I got a supplemental book to know how to read sheet music before I even started this one, by the way, because I wanted to know how to read it. I don't think that book really matters. This book does the exact same thing as that book, except that one's more of like you could do it while you're watching TV. It's more of a question and answer, showing you. It's more like a normal school book, right? It shows you what this is called with the bass clef, the 4/4, the common time, the names, the notes, right? And it has you fill in. You're actively writing in, filling in, doing your own music, so that it's more interactive than playing, right? It's like it's just to kind of reinforce what you're already learning. And since I had already been playing, I didn't really have to have my cello next to me. But this book will do the same thing. Another thing you can do is you can just go back to pieces you've learned and write in the notes, which I've done in order to reinforce the notes. So this is an example, and I'm gonna show you. I think I had it opened at the very end. Let me see which one actually. Make sure it's that one. Okay. So yeah, so it's simple gifts. So if you actually, I'm gonna go to the previous one. I'm gonna go to 190 to show you an example on how there's more slurs in this book. Look at this. There's already more slurs here than in any of the pieces in Suzuki. And sure, maybe if you don't count the repeats. But as you can tell, uh, there are a little bit more, and with different timings as well. I'm not saying Suzuki doesn't have slurs, but this is not even the last one, and this one's actually pretty easy. But the last, I don't really play this one anymore. But simple gifts, and you can't even see it all, so I don't know how you would actually play it on here. But as you can see, this is one I still play as a warm up because of the slurs. So that you know what, I actually forgot my point on why I brought up the history. So in Suzuki, even when I was in Suzuki Book 3, slurs to me were the devil. They were something I would just try to get through them. I didn't, I honestly didn't even, I was a bit ignorant on how common slurs are. It's just part of it. So if you're having a hard time in slurs, don't try to just push through them. You need to learn them. It's just they're gonna be in almost every single piece you ever play. I don't know why I thought I could just I don't know, push my way through them and then figure it out. And honestly, it wasn't like that. So I can say, even though I'm only in Suzuki Book 1 and Essential Elements Book 1 completed, I have already surpassed myself from when I was taking private lessons and I was in Suzuki Book 3. And I'll tell you why. One, I'm not guessing myself when I'm reading it. I Sometimes when a piece is a bit simple, I can pretty much get the melody right out and play it almost in time, very close to in time, because I know how to read the music now. I'm not stumbling over my fingers trying to guess what fingers what. And slurs, I have far surpassed my slur abilities because of this book. And honestly, I'm not. Although I'm not reviewing book two just double and triples down on slurs, and I felt like I wish I would have had that when I was doing it the first time, because once I review book two, I'll tell you why. But it's a little bit of the same of this book. Or probably worse, but in a good way, but in a bad way. But so I really, even though I never felt like this book was hard until I think this piece was the hardest one for me. And by hard, I mean it took me a full practice session, like 3 hours, where I wanted to pull my hair out, especially on this section here. For whatever reason, the timing of the slurs between the quarter notes and the eighth notes, it was on, and it was just throwing me off. And then with the slurs included, but within a practice section, it just, that moment where like it just doesn't click, and then out of nowhere it just clicks, and then all of a sudden, once I got past that part, obviously this is more of the same, and it just flew. The rest is a lot easier, and it just flew because once you learn this part, I would even say up to here, then the rest is very similar. So once I knocked this, I basically was trying to learn the whole piece, but I said stop, and I just focused from here to here, from this measure, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first 5 measures, and once I executed it, it just clicked. The rest of it just flew. But for me, that I think I never struggled to that degree, even when I went to Suzuki Book 3. I'm not sure why. I think it's because now I'm actually trying to play them to as, I wouldn't say perfect, because obviously I'm a beginner. I'm not gonna be able to play them perfect. It's a bit of a waste of time to try to stay with a piece until you play it absolutely perfect. That's just not gonna happen. But what I consider acceptable or good enough, and I still practice this piece every day as my warm up, so it's only getting better. Uh, I guess that's pretty much my final point. Oh, I guess another positive would be this, and this was a big. I hate that I left this to the end, but the melody, the piano, you get to play the accompaniment, right? There's a play button, you can record yourself. Now, this one doesn't have the metronome for some reason. Now, this is a negative, but also a positive. As you can see, one amazing thing about this is that you get the tracks, and I'll just go here, I guess, for example, something simple, right? So this was a part I loved, and I actually had a lot of fun coming from Suzuki Book 1, is being able to play right here on one interface. I have the metronome, and then I would first play it, master it with the metronome, then I would move to the piano, and then I would move to the orchestra part. And so I would master it 3 times, and that was my favorite part. And you can turn the melody off or you can turn it on. Obviously, I always had it on, and that was my favorite part. But at some point, I don't know where, I think around maybe 80ish, or no, somewhere, they removed the metronome, which I did not like, and you could no longer hear the melody for some reason. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's I don't know. I can't tell you. But at some point, so I had to start using YouTube because they had the accompaniment with the melody, obviously, because they're playing along. So I had to go to YouTube and I stopped using the website, and that's actually a negative for book two as well. I actually did not do the last piece because it's in Suzuki book one, and it's minuet number two. And the reason why is because this is actually a simpler version of that one. And and because I still use minuet number two as a warm up from Suzuki Book 1, I didn't want to confuse myself on the notes. As you can tell, it's a little different. It's actually shorter and it's a little more simple. Not too much simpler, but it is. As you can tell, it has a ton of fingerings. Uh, right? Even the way it's drawn out, it's a little different, right? See? So it doesn't have like the three finger slurs or anything like that. So it's a little bit more simple, but so it's up to you if you want to learn this one. Honestly, that's all I have. My favorite part was probably having the accompaniment right up on the website at my fingertips. I did not use um, the the sheet music on the page. I used the book, but that's what I recommend. I do recommend it. Honestly, I would even recommend you start them both at the same time. If you're in I want to gear these videos more towards the adult learner who doesn't have a teacher. So if you have no lessons, then Essential Elements Book 1 is better for you because it does start. I'll show you how it starts. It's it's super simple. Like it's a little similar to Suzuki, I guess, but not that crazy. It's just pluck, do do do. So if you're someone who can't afford a teacher, I would still recommend at least paying for one lesson per month, which is what like the cheapest you could find is maybe $30 a month. If you're somewhere else, it might be 45 if you don't have as much of a variety. But I do recommend you start with Suzuki Book 1 and Essential Elements at the same time. This one will show you more. This has more exercises that are very simple and simplistic when you look at them, but when you start getting through pieces at the very end, like if you're doing them at the same time, then you're gonna notice that it's actually helping you because Suzuki is nothing. So Suzuki has what Essential Elements doesn't, which is the pieces. You just want to play music, and I'll be honest, even in Suzuki, at times I hate how simple the pieces are because you can feel that they've been. I hate to use this word, but it's been dumbed down for the student. And for me as an adult learner, I wish they were a little bit more complex because I'm an adult and I can push myself a little bit further, right? If they were a bit more like Minuet number two, I meant towards the end of the book. So having them together, you get both. Essential Elements gives you the exercises of the bowings and constantly reinforcing uh, how to read D major and G major and C major, right, on the two strings. And menu and then did I say menu? And Suzuki has the pieces. So next time I'll do a review of Suzuki Book 1 and the negatives and the positives of that because it does have its flaws and but overall it does get you playing right away, which is a good thing because ultimately that's what you want. So I think both of them together are better, and this is just from my perspective. And I did suffer a lot, so that's it.